Our next speaker is distinguished philosopher A.C. Grayling, notable for his ability to bring philosophy to life for contemporary readers and audiences. He's the founder and master of the New College of the Humanities and associated with the New Atheism movement, sometimes described as the fifth horseman of New Atheism. He's written many books on philosophy and a variety of subjects. Among his most recent are The Challenge of Things, Liberty in the Age of Terror, and The God Argument. A.C. Grayling.
My apologies for this dramatic entrance. One of my toes had an encounter with reality last weekend, and I'm still recovering from it. I'm told, actually, having a walking stick adds a little gravitas, so I might take it up. Well, my belief is based on having had the most tremendous good luck, really, to be able to devote a lifetime of a study of philosophy and of teaching philosophy. And philosophy rests on two great questions. One of them is, what is there? What is the nature of reality? What is this world of ours? And the other great question is, what matters? What's of value in that world? And you can see that the two questions are connected with one another because, of course, if your answer to the first question, what is there, what exists, is that there are, among all the natural phenomena studied by the sciences, there are also supernatural agencies, gods and goddesses, perhaps with an interest in us, in who we marry and what we eat and so on, then, of course, the question of what's of value in the world is decided for us by that fact. Because what matters is that we should conform in some way to the demands or requirements which are placed on us by supernatural reality. But if the world, the universe, is just a realm of natural law, if all there is the physics of space-time, then the question of what matters in the world is up to us to decide. We have to think about how we're going to live, what kinds of lives we're going to make for ourselves, and how we're going to relate to other people. And that is a very important responsibility. In fact, it is a kind of universal responsibility. Because think of this. Supposing that the standard story that we have about the origins and nature of the universe is pretty well as accepted. A big bang, a fluctuation in the quantum vacuum which gives rise by extremely rapid inflation in the early nanoseconds of the universe's history, and then the universe evolves. And in the course of this evolution, after about 10 billion years, life begins to appear in one tiny little corner of the universe. It evolves eventually into a form of life which is conscious of itself and able to reflect and to think, and that's us. And supposing that our species manages to survive for a while before we wipe ourselves out with greed and war and the rest, and in that little interval of time, when we are capable of love and kindness, but also capable of greed and conflict with our fellows, in that little space of time, if the amount of harm, the amount of pain and suffering comes to outweigh the amount of good, and then that little candle is snuffed out and the universe in all its immensity continues until the cold death or the collapse of the universe after many more billions of years, well then that little flicker of self-consciousness with its outweighing of suffering over good will have made the entire history of the universe a bad thing that it existed at all. But if the good, if the joy, if the love and affection and friendship, if the experience that flowers in that little moment in the universe's history, which is us, if that outweighs the bad, then it's a good thing that the universe existed, because the quantum of happiness and of pleasure and of joy outweighs the quantum of bad. So we have a big responsibility, in fact, a universal responsibility, to make the universe a good place by being nice to one another. And really, the thought that we could do that, it seems so simple, such a direct observation, but it's a very profound one, it's a very deep one. And the depth of it can be illustrated in the following way. I believe that the universe is a realm of natural law. I don't think there are supernatural agencies. I think our beliefs, our religious beliefs, have come to us from our very earliest ancestors trying to make sense of the world around them. And it's very easy to see how it might have been for them, thinking, how do you explain the wind and the storm and the movement of the sea and the rustle of the leaves, other than by imputing to the world around us what we feel in our own experience. That is, the experience of agency, of being able to do something. I pick up a stone and throw it into the pond, I make a splash, that's something that I caused to happen. So the wind must be caused by an agency like me, only much bigger and perhaps invisible. Also the earthquake or the tides of the sea. And so to impute agency to things in the world is a very natural thing to do. And out of that, bit by bit, of course, the idea of these agencies being conscious beings and perhaps the possibility of a relationship with them must have emerged out of the early animistic thinking of our ancestors. I have a suspicion, by the way, which is that it was some bloke, and I'm sure it was a bloke, who thought to himself, if I could persuade my fellow tribesmen that I can make contact with these agencies and get them to bring the rain or help us defeat our enemies, then I'm going to get all the girls and the money. And that's probably where it all began. And of course, the temporal powers in our world would have seen the great utility of having an invisible policeman on duty all the time who can see what you're up to even when you're on your own in the dark. And so that would have been one reason why the temporal powers would have supported the guy who thought that he could talk to these agencies. So there is a long and a complex history there. But if we believe ourselves, our most intelligent selves, investigating the nature of physical reality over the last many centuries, especially in the modern era since the 16th and 17th century with the rise of the natural sciences, we have come to an understanding of this extraordinary universe of ours with all its beauty, with all its range and depth. And out of that understanding, we've learned that actually it is us, we, who have to make decisions about what matters, what's of value, and how we should act towards one another. And part of that realization is that there is not a one-size-fits-all story about the nature of the good and worthwhile life. But there are as many good lives, as many worthwhile lives full of success and achievement and affection as there are people to live them. Because people are very diverse. We're very different from one another. And the understanding of those differences is what gives rise to tolerance and kindness, to the recognition that we must give others their space, their opportunity to live and flourish too, if only we would be collegial with them. But that heavy duty, therefore, to think, you all know what Bertrand Russell famously said on this matter, that most people would rather die than think, and most people do, is of course the source of great problem in our world. So we have to think. We've got to think, what is the right and the good? How should we relate? What do I owe my fellows in society? How can I grasp the opportunity to be kind and to make our world a good place? Because after all, it's the only world we've got. Thank you very much. Thank you.